What's going on, Badger fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Badgers. You see the quartet here because we are continuing our Badgers basketball draft. We got Rajeev, Justin, Dillon. We got to fill out benches. We got to talk about our favorite picks from other teams, who stole players from us, and who are we surprised that at the end of this didn't get drafted. We're going to talk about all of that and more on today's special episode of Locked On Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of Locked On Badgers. We still got Rajeev, Justin, Dillon. If you're with us with the first part of the show, we are picking our all-time Badgers draft, our basketball team, going back to the Bo Ryan era. A very quick recap. You're getting the best version of the player. So you would be getting the sophomore version of Johnny Davis, not the freshman version, for example. And you're trying to build out a team. So it's not an all-star team. What is the best team you can construct? And that's what we've done. Guys, I'm going to put the draft board back up. Anybody have any thoughts while I do that? Anybody surprised by anything that happened in the first 5 rounds?
I am surprised by a few things only, but I can't really talk about them because my bench picks rely on my secrecy here. But there were some players drafted that I had a couple players drafted that weren't even on my board, really, like the players that I wasn't going to draft. But overall, I feel like all the teams are pretty good. I mean, we're talking about the best players in the last 20 years. So 24 years. So yeah, great teams.
Yep. And let me recap really quickly for everybody listening on a podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, we have the draft board up, but certainly if you're listening on a podcast, Rajeev has Trayvon Hughes, Brad Davison, Alondo Tucker, who I took off my board for character concerns, Marcus Landry.
Why you are trying to dissuade people from thinking that I had the best team. Stop.
I literally took him off the Herring's draft board.
Does he need the help? No, just kidding.
Easy. Come on.
Dillon countered with Devin Harris, who is obviously an incredible player. Josh Gosser, Kirk Penny, Keaton Akeville, Ethan Happ. Justin has the backcourt of Bronson Koenig and Johnny Davis, Nigel Hayes, Micah Potter, and John Lure. And I have Jordan Taylor, Michael Flowers, Sam Decker, Mike Wilkinson, and Jared Berggren. So it is my pick at the flip. Start filling out my bench. And I feel like I need shooting and I need versatile players. And despite that, I don't know if I'm going to go with either fully here. I just feel like, listen, I think you win in college basketball, in basketball in general, with ball handlers, decision makers. College basketball especially, you need ball handlers, you need guards. I'm going to take Chucky Hepburn. I want to build up my guard depth. And again, Hepburn's a guy, I talked about this with Johnny Davis in the first show. I don't think we got to see the full version of Johnny Davis because he had to shoulder such an enormous load. Nobody around him can make shots. I think on a better team, you'd see efficiency go up. I think the same is true with Chucky. You put him on a team right now with Decker, Wilkinson. He's getting open shots. He's a great open shooter. I'm always going to have an elite decision-making point guard on my team. 2 rugged defenders in Jordan Taylor and Chucky Hepburn. Give me Hepburn. I think he's a great 6-man coming off my bench. Justin, you are up.
I'm going to go ahead and take Cam Taylor. Good one. Very good pick. And then my backup point guard, a guy who was a pleasant surprise as a scorer, good outside shooter. That backup point guard position locked in, so I have my secondary ball handler, a guy with some good athleticism. I'm liking that pickup.
Mm-hmm. Get to the free throw line, too. He could put pressure on defenses.
So I think right here, I'm mostly looking for a spark plug that can, come in, knock down some threes. That isn't going to have a lot of attention on him. I think Connor Segan kind of fits the bill.
Come on, man.
How did you not take him?
You thought I was going to take him earlier, didn't you, Rajeev? I did think you were going to take him earlier, and I really was hoping that Dillon did not take him because I was 100% going to take him right here. Dang it.
I just think he brings too much to the table from a spacing standpoint and can kind of run him off pin downs. I got too many shooters. What are you going to do?
That's a good pick. I like that pick.
Well, since I can no longer take Connor Segan, I will take someone else who I really like. Very dependable, Mr. Dependable, backup point guard for me. I'm going with D'Mitrick Trice. I thought he was a very good player. He's just dependable. He wasn't an ultra stud, but he averaged 4 assists a game, shot 39% from 3. I think it's a good guy to have as my backup point guard. Which then brings me to my next pick. And now I got to really think about this because I'm kind of figuring out, like, really, the Connor thing really threw me. I absolutely thought Connor was going to be here for me. And you really kind of messed me up here.
I'm sick about it.
So, all right. So I'm going to take a guy. Boy, this is a tough pick actually for me because I'm kind of between a couple players here. And I think that, we haven't seen, it was his best season, right? So I feel like this past season was a little bit tougher for various reasons, for injury reasons, but I want Tyler Wall on my team. You talk about a guy who can come in and fill that 3-4-5 role. Very, very versatile, unbelievable creativity in the low block and the way he scores. He does everything on the floor. I think a really good guy to fill out the bench.
Yeah, that's a good pick because if you're bringing Tyler Wall in for 20 minutes off the bench and just say go guard their best front court player, get me rebounds, make good decisions, and we can go to you a little bit in the post and not have to overdo it because you're coming off the bench. I think that's a really good pick. I like that pick more than Trice. I'm not a huge Trice guy, but I could be on an island there. I love the Wall pick though. I think that's great value.
Okay.
So we're looking for an enforcer. We need a little bit of beef out here, someone who can come in and just move bodies. And so we're going to go with Joe Krabbenhoft. Kind of, we all remember the screen he set. They're
assistant coach Joe Krabbenhoft.
Hey, give me either one. I don't care. Right now, he's going to bring the beef. He's going to be an enforcer off the bench and kind of provide a little bit of muscle. And former 5-star recruit. This guy. He's what we need right now. He's another glue piece that we're after.
Yep.
He was actually someone who I was debating between him and Wall because I love when you look at individual players, you might look at Wall and think he's a better player, but when you look at how they fit onto a team and what they bring to a roster, that's really where Krabbenhoft just continues to rise because what he does to fill out your squad is super important. So yeah, that's a good pick.
I think for as different as they are physically, they both bring a lot of the same things to a team. Like a lot of their intangibles are, just they bring a lot to your squad. They're a boost no matter what role they're in.
Surely one of your golden shoe guys, right?
Shockingly not. Krabbenhoft didn't get golden sneakers for me, but I do want to point out that considering the track he went on after basketball, you're obviously getting an incredibly high IQ guy coming off the bench. And you need guys like that. You need a guy who can come in for 8 minutes or 20 minutes, and either way, he's going to be fine for the culture. I think Krabbenhoft's a good pick there, too.
All right. Coming to me here, I'm going to go ahead and take Ben Brust.
That's a good pick. He would have been gone for me next.
Little flamethrower off the bench to bring out there a guy who can play either guard position in a pinch and a guy who just is a winner. Like, he plays hard. He plays the win. And he's hit some just huge shots in Wisconsin history.
Yeah, I love
got a real quick. I gotta give Ben Brust a shout out. This week he actually donated a couple of signed basketballs by he and Greg Gard to my best friend Nate Butler. Lost his father Stu this year, and this Friday we're having a memorial golf tournament in his honor for him. And Ben Brust donated a couple of basketballs this week to it. To hopefully raise some money, excuse me, with all money going to the UW Health Cancer Research, and just overall good human being. Wanted to get that in there.
Very classy, awesome. Very classy.
He just became another golden sneaker guy. No, you need those. But make sure we talk more about the golf tournament, that we can tweet it out and whatever we can do to help raise awareness for that, for sure.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man. So yeah, I was going to take Brust actually right here. I think I need a shooter off the bench as well. So I had the same type of thought process. I'm just going to pivot though. I'm going to go Bohannon. We're going to go Jason J-Bo. 38% as a senior, 38% on volume. He averaged 5 attempts per game. So you're not talking 38% with a shot or two. If you're shooting almost 40% on 5 attempts per game, you're stretching the floor. I can bring him off the bench, play him with really just about anybody. He's just going to space the court. So I'm going to take Bohannon there. I would have taken Brust. I preferred Brust, but I'm really I think they're kind of two sides of a very similar coin, in my opinion.
One was a winner.
Oh wow! Listen, I don't need a winner as my 7th man. I just need a guy who can come in and drill a couple threes. All right, we're gonna take a quick break there. Let's pause for our friends of the show really quickly. Rajeev has added to his bench D'Mitrick Trice, Tyler Wall. Dillon has added Connor Esigian, Joe Krabbenhoft. Justin has added Cam Taylor, Ben Brust, and I've added Hepburn and Bohannon. Dillon, before we go to break, of the not on your team, of the other 6 players drafted to add to the bench, who got the best value? What's the best value pick of those 6 players?
Honestly, I really like Chucky Hepburn. Well, I don't know that perhaps he would have warranted making one of like somebody's starting point guard slot. I just think everything that he brings, and especially not in a starting capacity, he can flourish in the role that I think that he's best suited for, which is as a facilitator and just as a dog on defense. And like, as you mentioned before, with them keying on other scorers, he can get a lot of open looks from 3, and he's a 40% shooter from 3. He was second in the Big Ten last year in 3-point percentage. So I think someone like that coming off the pine is pretty good value.
That's why I have Dillon on the show. Like I always say, just the best guest ever. All right, we're going to take a quick break there. Go to our friends of the show over at FanDuel. We'll just keep everybody on again because we did that last time. There's more interesting odds here, guys, coming out with basketball. Our football season start to firing up. One of the odds I saw is Wisconsin has the 4th best odds in the Big Ten to win the conference. It's plus 650, just behind, very close to Penn State, which is plus 600. Ohio State is plus 170. Michigan is plus 180. So, Rajeev, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to start with the top. Ohio State plus 170, Michigan plus 180. Where would you put your money on those two?
Michigan between those two, just because I think they've got the better quarterback situation, overall team. I mean, Ohio State's probably going to take a bit of a step back, maybe a little bit, but for them, one of their steps back isn't that big of a step. But Michigan, to me, is the clear favorite there.
Dillon, surprising to have Wisconsin's Ohio with a brand new coach, or is this a reflection of the schedule and the talent that they brought in and the confidence that people have in Luke Fickell?
You know, I'm not 100% sure on that. I really don't have a strong take.
It's hard to do it. Like, it's so far out.
Yeah, there's a lot that we haven't seen. There's a lot of there's so many different aspects that we haven't got to see on the field yet that I try not to take a strong stance either way yet. You know, I know that's not what you're looking for. That I'm certainly hedging, but that's where I got to remain until I see a little bit.
And I just got done pumping you up, Dillon, as the best guest I have.
He was at the spring game. He's cautiously optimistic.
Justin, you buying Penn State 3rd best odds in the Big Ten to win the conference?
I'm not. I don't believe in. I think they're being very overrated for a team that's going to be starting a freshman quarterback. We have no clue what that guy's going to be. And of the 3 teams at the top, they have the least margin for error in terms of secondary cast to be able to rely on to carry a quarterback if he's not playing up to snuff. Listen, we saw Sean Clifford for 5 years never be a guy who was truly a difference maker for them. You're expecting a freshman quarterback to come in and play better than that right off the bat? That's a stretch to me.
I love it. Football season's coming up. Go to FanDuel.com/lockdown. Get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Plus, baseball's going on. If anybody's been paying attention to my Bravos, they are clubbing everybody. On Wisconsin, go Braves, FanDuel.com/lockdown. I just got to get that in there. I bet with my heart. All right. Appreciate everybody tuning in as always. We're going to keep the draft going. Share this again. I think it is my pick continuing to fill out the benches. Let me pull this draft board back up. The more I've gone into this, the more I really like my team, guys. And I am pretty excited about what I've been able to build here on the backs of some real golden sneaker type of players for my roster. I do feel like I need a little bit more depth in the front court. I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to go Brian Butch. I'm going to get another big man that I can bring off the bench. I have a lot of fouls to give it Frank the Tank can even have. So I'm going to take Brian Butch here, and I feel pretty good about my 2 5s.
I am going to go for defensive versatility here and get myself a defensive stopper. I'm going to go ahead and grab Khalil Iverson.
I love Iverson.
Plus athlete, can cover basically 1 through 4 on the court. A guy who doesn't need a lot on offense to be out there. You know, he's a guy who will go out there and do the grunt work, get putbacks, get offensive rebounds. Guy just plays hard and doesn't require a lot of – he's low maintenance out on the floor.
Yeah.
Every team needs that. So what I need is a backup point guard right now. I might have waited a little bit too long. You know, this pick is going to be somewhat on behalf of my wife, but also just you need a guy who's going to make the big shot when it calls. And so I'm going to take Trayvon Jackson.
Good pick there. I mean, a very versatile player, and yeah, he kind of. I mean, he's underrated. overall as a Badger, I think. Good pick.
Especially if he's your 8th guy, coming off the bench where he's not afraid of the moment. We all know that with Trayvon. So, yeah, that's a good pick.
Okay, so I'm going to round out my team here. So I'm going to take a guard, and then I'm going to take a big guy to kind of even things out a bit. The guard I'm going to take is someone who, this was interesting. I have a couple guys. I'm interested to see how the rest of it plays out. But I'm going to take a guy that I really liked to watch back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I don't know. I'm going to go Freddie Owens.
Oh, nice.
Freddie Owens was a guy that, I loved. The guy's 36% from 3. He's just someone to build out depth, right? I mean, he was a guy that he's reliable. He's not going to turn the ball over, someone that I really like. And then I'm going to go with Nate Reavers. I think Reavers is solid height. He's a block threat, 2 blocks, 4.5 rebounds a game, 44% from the field, all Big Ten. Again, just rounding out. I mean, you look at a backup 5 right there with Reavers. That's pretty good.
Well, and again, people might look at Reavers, and maybe Dillon, you were about to say this. I don't know. You're not getting you're getting the junior. You're getting the best version of Reavers, right? We're coming out of that. I mean, we were talking, is this dude going to go into the NBA? Be a fringe first-round pick, even. And everything kind of unraveled for him at the end. But if you're getting junior Reavers, that's a steal, and that's what you're getting.
So with my last pick here and to round out the squad, the guy that I am probably one of the most excited to bring on board is Greg Steemsma. I'm after a shot blocker as well, and I've got a guy who's got 5 fouls and a bad attitude, and I'm happy to bring that off the bench. Dude made it in the league. He had an NBA career, floated around with the Celtics for a while, playing behind the polar bear. I just got a soft spot for Greg Steemsma. I need a shot blocker.
And you're right. That's a dude that he stuck. It felt like he carved out a better NBA career at times than a rotation, right? But definitely someone who can come in and play physical. That's a good pick too.
I'm gonna have to fill out some size too, and I'm gonna go Steven Crowell.
Love Big Steve.
Mm-hmm. Part of sports is just having fun. You want guys that you like watching. You want guys who are enjoyable, who have energy and passion, who care and give a crap about the state of Wisconsin. Forget the football wall falling. I want a guy who gives a crap about in-state, who's born in Wisconsin. It's not Carter Gilmore. It's not Carter Gilmore. Listen, I have players higher on my board, and we can talk about that next, but I want a team that has Zach Showalter on it.
Wow.
I want a team who's going to do the Aaron Rodgers belt, who's going to just bring energy, who's going to dive in a game against North Carolina and get a steal, and he's maybe only going to play 8 minutes a game, but in those 8 minutes, he is going to bring every bit of energy he has. I think every team needs a guy who comes off the bench who shouldn't be there, right? Like, there's other more talented players, but through his energy and his underrated athleticism, he found a way. I want Shoei on my team.
Talk about a what could have been moment. That shot he hit against Florida.
That was the bad beat of all bad beats, to pull the belt out, and then
in 5 seconds later, like that just took. He needed a wheelbarrow for those stones to get out of that building, and we just had it stolen. Yeah. I rewatched that clip of Chiozza hitting that shot this week, and it still just turns my stomach.
I was at that game.
My deepest condolences.
Yeah, tell me, man.
I talked to Vitto Brown about that game, and you should have saw his face. It was like the color drained, and it was just like, I can't believe we lost that.
It's been an Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Come back. We're going to recap. There's a couple interesting players that didn't get picked that I want to talk about and just see if anyone regrets not taking these guys. I probably already do. But a quick break for the show, and then we'll come back and talk about the result of the draft. All right, let's welcome back. Thank you, everybody, who tuned into this fun show. I want to start here, guys. I have a couple names, and feel free to throw yours out as well. Vitto Brown, I thought would probably get picked. Kind of a versatile forward, could shoot a little bit. Good defender, good size. I thought there was a chance. Well, Max Klesmit, I thought had a chance at getting picked as a
That was
two-way.
that. Klesmit was actually, I was decided between him and Freddie Owens, and I almost went Klesmit, but yeah, he was on my board as well.
Same. He was on my short list.
What about Bruisewitz?
He was also on mine.
Right? In there?
But you couldn't have drafted him because him and Sam Decker didn't get along. So that would have disrupted your locker room. That was never on the table for you.
No, locker room's very important to me, as
Right.
we've talked about. I look forward to Rajeev's team imploding around Alondo.
Yeah.
Such a hater. You are trying to get out
Listen,
of here.
I mean, you got a Jimmy Buckets on your team.
Character matters, right? He fell on the draft board for a lot of teams.
And my team is super athletic and will run circles around your team.
Yeah, so that is one thing. Let's go through really quick and just everybody kind of recap like what you think your strength is, weakness is, something you regret, or just whatever you want to do. A quick recap. For me, I think my biggest weakness is I don't think I'm a very athletic team outside of Decker. I don't think I have the horses certainly to match up with a Devin Harris, but even Londo Tucker, Trayvon Hughes, Koenig, Davis. I feel like I'm at athletic disadvantage a little bit. I do feel like I have a ton of, on the plus side, I have a ton of durable dudes, a lot of great defenders. My front court is really, really relentlessly strong on the glass. I love Wilkinson. I think he's a steal. And I think Decker is probably one of the most versatile players in this entire draft. So it gives me a versatile, modern type of a wing, two great decision-making point guards. But if I point to one thing on my team that I wish I could have gotten a little bit more of, it's athleticism. So that's kind of where I'm at with my team. But I feel really good about it overall. We'll just work back in reverse. Justin.
I really like the athleticism overall of my team. I feel really good about my backcourt players. And especially having a nice, well-rounded piece like Iverson out there to kind of throw in there in multiple spots should there be any foul issues. I'm a little weak when it comes to if we're looking at rebounding and guys that are just going to provide post defense, and that's kind of the spot that I'm a little worried about. There's a couple between Hap and Tank. There's a couple of guys that can be a problem for me. But when it comes down to it, college basketball is about the guards, and I feel like I'm loaded there.
I think overall, I feel the best about my team's shooting and toughness. And I have enough bodies that are going to come in and be enforcers. I've got really four guys that I think maybe even five that can be roughly 40% 3-point shooters, while also having a big man that I can trust to dump it down low to. I do wish that I would have potentially addressed the backup point guard spot a little sooner. However, how many minutes am I really going to be giving them behind Harris is another question. And so for that, I'm certainly still happy having Trayvon Jackson, but there were a lot of names on the list that we've had a really good run of point guards over the last 20 years. And so there really wasn't a wrong selection by anybody, but I do wish I would have maybe picked one a little sooner.
I think I've got a lot of athleticism on my team. I think maybe team chemistry could be a potential. I know you've certainly talked about that, Ryan, with LaLandry and Tucker and Hughes. But listen, I think that there's so many athletes. Hughes, guys that can just get to the rim and score, right? Between Trayvon Hughes and Brad Davison also has that unique ability to just score. So we're not having 9-minute scoring droughts on this team, okay? There's going to be a lot of activity going on. And I think Tyler Wall – off my bench is one of the better bench players I think that we have here. I think he brings so much versatility. So maybe little team chemistry issues, maybe 3-point shooting at times a little bit weaker compared to the other teams. In general, not weak, but as compared to your teams, maybe a little bit lacking there. But overall, very happy with the athleticism.
Rajeev, let's finish up on this. I've already kept you guys for a long time. We'll go back through one more time. Rajeev, outside of your team, just name your favorite pick and your least favorite pick from any other team.
Okay, so my least favorite pick, honestly, is probably Bergeron. I didn't like that pick in that. Sorry,
Dillon and shaking his head in agreement.
Be honest, I want to know
but so that's the pick that I don't like the best, and the pick that I actually like the best is a player that I absolutely loved. Dillon got Kirk Penny. Love Kirk Penny. He was obviously going to get drafted early.
No, he was going next pick if he didn't take him.
Dillon,
I'm gonna have to second. I hate to pile on, but the Bergeron pick I thought was a bit early for my taste. On the flip side, I think maybe one of the players that I like the most, and maybe even in hindsight would have selected myself was Nigel Hayes. I think he doesn't get the love that he deserves. He honestly, on paper, has one of the most accomplished Wisconsin careers, just from a points, rebounding, assist standpoint. And then you want to bring in the accolades. He did a lot. And I think that because he never quite reached a level that maybe we all expected, he didn't get the love that he deserved in the moment, but with the benefit of hindsight, I think we can appreciate.
I mean, the one pick that probably hurt me the most was that Kirk Penny one. I really wanted that pick at the time. I was looking to set up my board, and I'm like, man, if I get this rolling this way with Johnny Davis and Kirk Penny, I'm like, that's a 1-2, two-man game there. That's just off the charts. I'm sorry, Ryan. I got to go Bergeron. I loved him as a player, but where you took him, I just feel like there were some options there.
He was so much further down my board. I got to tell you.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
no, it's fair. Let me point this out really quickly. And admittedly, I didn't even love the pick when I made it. I will say is Bergeron has the third and fourth best block percentages among Badger big men, behind only Reavers, who I didn't think had the bulk to hold up. That I wanted a bigger guy, and Stiesma, and Bergeron was a better offensive player than Stiesma. So that's where I was going. There's a bunch of picks I love from y'all's teams, though. I really love the Nigel Hayes pick that Justin got. He's, to me, such an underrated player. And then the Kirk Penny pick was big. I think Brad Davidson, you pairing him with some of the offensive weapons you have, he's going to play up as a shooter, Rajeev. So I like all of those picks. The one pick that I didn't love, and since I can't use my own team that everyone else went to, I thought the Potter pick was just a tick early, because I don't think he defensively. I think there's maybe better forwards there from a defensive standpoint. But that'd be the one spot where I was like, Potter was way down on my board. Offensively, he has skills though.
We went offense, Ryan. We're outscoring teams. That's what we're doing.
I will say that John Lure was very high on my list of players I was hoping to get. He would have been my second pick. That's somebody who I wanted desperately.
Yeah, Lure's a stud. This is great, guys. We're going to put all this up on Twitter. See, everyone's going to vote on it. I think Dillon might put something on what he's doing on Badger Notes as well. I'll leave that for him to talk about or discuss. I don't want to speak for him. But this was a lot of fun, guys. We're going to do a football version of this probably next year. God willing, we're all here, and that show will be like 3 hours. But it'll be amazing. So any last words, guys? Really do appreciate all you guys coming in. I appreciate everybody tuning into the show. I had a lot of fun doing this and putting together my board.
This was a really good idea.
Yeah.
It was fun to go back, and because obviously the research of it and just trying to put our boards together was very nostalgic, and thinking back to when these guys played, and I even had to put on some video of these guys a little bit to remember some of their attributes. So yeah, a lot of fun doing it.
But there was one guy you missed of the guys that were on my list that you didn't bring up, and that was Charlie Wills from way back in the day, the Kirk Penny days, who was a nice player his senior year.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other ones really quick. Aleem Ford, Ryan Evans, both were solid forwards.
I had Zach Morley on my board too.
Yep, I had him on. Yep,
very sneaky kind of athletic guy. I really liked him watching him play.
We should have picked 12-man teams. We could have kept going with this. But anyway,
I will say, last thing I got is in the event that I had drafted Brad Davison, my last selection was going to be Charlie Thomas, because Brad Davison is going to bring a lot of heat. You know, he's a polarized player. He's not everybody's cup of tea.
You need the bodyguard.
When I've got Charlie Thomas stepping out from the bench, they're stepping back. And
well, that's why you had Joe Krabbenhoft.
There's no extracurriculars with Charlie Thomas on the court.
That is some next level GM work there. I love it.
Yeah. So that was like a contingent on if I drafted Brad, but just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I love it. All right, everybody, we'll wrap it up on Wisconsin. Thank you for tuning in to both of these shows. Really do appreciate it. Let us know on Twitter. We're going to put the poll up. Let us know who you think put together the best team, and maybe we'll throw some prizes out there for people who comment on it. Anyway, on Wisconsin, for Rajeev, Justin, and Dillon, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll talk tomorrow.